Okay, so we're recording. This is the process circle for Module 2 of If a Tree Falls in the Forest. So Ruth, why, I know what you do at our congregation. Why the marketing course?
Well, I think, we're trying to do visioning, and I'm trying to get our message out, and I think it's important. And I have a somewhat skewed vision of marketing, having been part of it in one of my careers in the banking industry. They said marketing, and my body just contracted. So I'm trying to look at it as in a more positive way, and use, there are passionate people in our congregation, and how do we get that message out, and how do we do things to say what's going on that may be missed.
Okay, great.
So I want the congregation to be there for my grandson.
Nice. Joanne, why the marketing course? What in particular are you interested in hoping to get out of it? And I'm going to read what Joanne writes, since this is being recorded, although probably people can see the chat, but I'm not positive if that's the case. Just waiting for Joanne to type in. While she's doing that, I just want to tell all of you that, I'm sorry. So Joanne writes that she has extensive experience in marketing and business development for the nonprofit and for-profit sectors, but never done marketing for a faith organization. So it sounds like you have a lot in common with Linda in that respect, yes? Great. So the process circles are pretty informal. There's questions that I have that you can consider for each of the process circles, but we're certainly not limited to it. It's an open discussion, an opportunity to hear from each other, share ideas, particularly as we begin to get further into the class. So this is your time, and we'll go in whatever direction you want. I'm going to share the screen, and I do have the questions that were on the website. Let me remember which ones they are. Did you all? Can you see the questions on the screen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Did you all have a chance to watch the video?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Joanne?
I just watched it, and I probably missed.
Well, it's there if you want to review it. Joanne, did you have a chance to watch the video? It's in 2 parts.
Not yet.
Okay. I'm going to need, Ruth, I'm going to need you to read what Joanne writes with the screen shared. I can't see the chat.
Absolutely.
Thanks. So
I can do that.
So I really want your honest opinion of the content of the videos, and I can take it. I mean, if there's aspects of it that didn't resonate with you, please share that. But also, what aspects of the content most excited you? And then what aspects of what I talked about in the video do you think will pose a challenge for you in doing marketing in your congregation?
Well, so I am really kind of looking forward to doing this SWOT analysis from this perspective. To actually, we do have a lot of strengths, but we do have some weaknesses, and I don't think people really, you sort of make it real when you put it on the table. And I don't know that we've really done that and said, hey, what can we turn into an opportunity? how do we address these weaknesses? I think it's really important to analyze things at that level. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
And Linda, how are you gonna get that process started?
So I'm not sure. Is that a congregational thing, like a town hall meeting, or is that like a get a smaller group together to?
Well, I've done SWOT analyses with congregations as the beginning of a.
Communications.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've done SWOT analysis with congregations as the beginning of a strategic plan. So you can do this. You can do this in two ways. You can either initiate a congregation-wide process that might be the beginning of a strategic plan, or you can do a SWOT analysis that would be more specific to marketing. So when you're looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, you're focusing mostly on marketing and outreach.
Right.
So I guess that might be something you might want to discuss with Margie or with the board, and see, do we want to take advantage of this opportunity to do a full SWOT analysis as a prelude to a strategic plan? And marketing would be included in that. The other thing, let me just add one other thing. You don't have to include the entire congregation. You could handpick a group of 10 or 15 or 20 people that honestly are the best and the brightest, and bring them together and do it. And they would be representing the rest of the congregation. So a lot depends on how expedient you want it to be, and the logistics of trying to bring everybody in the congregation together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm usually somebody who prefers to work in a somewhat smaller group, and I know sometimes ideas come out of a lot of people, but also sometimes that can be paralyzing and never ending, and sometimes I don't know, that's just my personal experience, is that sometimes you're better off with a smaller group of people who, basically, if you look at things, you kind of can. I mean, I could probably do this myself, although that wouldn't be the thing I'd want to do, but you know what I mean? You could look around and say, this is what it's like, now.
Yeah.
Linda, and Mark and Joanne, we're actually doing something like that this weekend at our congregation on membership issues, where we have a group of people we're calling Imagineers, and people are going to be having a workshop on ideas on how to do, a better job of, from the first invitation of membership to, sustaining and developing committed members, as well as opportunities for leadership. So I think the same kind of thing could also be effective with marketing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Well, whatever you decide to do, it's good to get the process started and get the blessing of the minister and the board. So if you want to just focus on marketing and bring together a group of 8 or 10 people, I think that's perfectly fine. But if it's a larger SWOT, you might want to get more people involved.
Right. Okay.
All right. What I've done with congregations is the congregation was invited to come, and you always get just a percentage, 25, 30, 35% that come. and it's a brainstorming session. People just brainstorm. They don't, the anticipated outcome is not to have a complete SWOT analysis by the end of the session. People are just giving their input. And then you have a task force that takes all the information that was gathered and makes sense of it. It's the same thing with a mission process. You just have people share their ideas, and then a task force takes everything that, all the information that was gathered, and begins and creates a mission statement. So ultimately, even if you include the congregation, Linda, ultimately it goes into the hands of a small group that makes sense of it and that comes up with a document.
Right.
Okay. Joanne, I
The
don't.
next thing to be to prioritize.
I'm sorry, Linda.
I don't see anything that she's written.
Yeah,
That
no.
was Ruth.
No, I was just going to say, I guess the thing to do, if you were going to do a big SWOT analysis, is that then prioritize the findings as to what are the most important things to address, right? You would then prioritize those things.
Yes, yeah. So for example, you bring people together and you brainstorm on what are the strengths of the congregation, and what are the weaknesses? What are the areas where we need to improve? And then the plan becomes a discernment process. So which of these areas where we need to improve are we going to focus on? And how are we going to use the strengths of the congregation already in order to address those areas of need? So there's a process of breaking all of this down, and it includes prioritizing, because you can't do everything at once.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, great. So the SWOT analysis is something. So the SWOT analysis was something that resonated with you. Ruth and Joanne, are there any other aspects of the module 2 that you felt were particularly helpful or interesting?
Well, I was wondering, I think it would be interesting to do the link to lead. And I didn't know if that's ever been done in our congregation, if you're aware of that. I mean, do we already know that?
It's been years. Bill Clinton, who is a member of our congregation, Joanne and Linda, introduced that to us back when I was on the board. That was years ago. So one of the things that I can do for
But so it's not something that's recent.
No. It's been a long time. So as part of the SWOT analysis, I can generate a demographic report for your congregation that will look at a bunch of different characteristics in the boundary area, in the area that you designate. And what that does is identify for you what are some of the opportunities that are available, and what are some of the threats demographically that might be a challenge for you as a congregation in doing marketing and outreach.
Well, yeah, I thought it would be really good information. I thought it was I really thought it was very interesting. I think it's important to try to figure out, to educate folks about changing the concept of marketing from a sales pitch to an opportunity to, demonstrate who we are and and what our message is.
Sure. It is evangelizing, even though we don't like to use the E word, but it is spreading the good news of universalism. And that's how we bring people to our doors. But it is sales, Ruth.
Well, it's interesting because, It is sales, I know.
But we're selling your faith.
But
So Joanne says, my congregation has done a lot of planning in the past 2 years. I have to work with the committees who have been involved and figure out how to get this done.
Joanne, is there a marketing committee, a marketing and outreach committee at Southern Delaware? Does that already exist? I know that the congregation has done a growth plan through the Threshold Congregation Program. And by the way, all three of your congregations were Threshold congregations, and part of the Threshold program in our region. And I know that you all had growth plans. But I can't recall if it included marketing and outreach. But in the meantime, Linda, we cut you off. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, you know, the old way of thinking of marketing is that it's selling something. But I think the newer way of looking at it is finding out what the needs are of the people you want to reach and meeting those needs with the offering you have or with some offering you're going to develop. Or so I often think of it as, you know, providing something that someone is looking for. Not necessarily that we're trying to sell somebody something that they are not interested in or they were going to twist their arm into it. You know, it's really about getting a message to somebody so that they realize that they don't know, you know, this is something that I want to be involved in. This is something I want to check out and be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let me see. Joanne writes, just communications committee, and we are taking the marketing, branding, and PR responsibilities. You asked her if
Okay.
what she was doing, I think.
So another question.
And you know, we're also doing that in our congregation too. I mean, in our communications committee as well.
So Linda and Joanne, I'm wondering, do you have a marketing committee, or do you have a group of people that are working with you now?
So now, like, for example, we had a communications committee meeting the other night where one of the things we're trying to do is say when we have a visitor, you know, we're trying to, you know, talk to people who show up before they walk out the door. You know, we tend to be very cliquish. People all talk to each other. So it's like, how do you engage a visitor or make sure they're not standing there and nobody's talking to them? And how do you then follow up with them? And so one of the things that we did is we came up with 4 different emails that we're going to send to each person. And we sent it to the membership committee and said, what do you think of this? So the first time someone comes, it's, you know, thank you for visiting the UUFSB, and give them a little bit of information, you know, and then 2 weeks later, just send them another email telling them a little bit more about it. 4 emails. One was RE based, you know, if you have children, and it just tells them a little bit about the, you know, the type of RE, the type of things that children learn in RE and so forth. Mm-hmm. And what was, the 4th one, somebody called it a path to membership, but I changed it to, you know, introduction to congregational life, telling people these are some of the things you might want to get involved in, you know, the Shalom ministry or Tai Chi, or if you like this, maybe that, you know. So it was like 4 emails with different focuses that we thought that we would send people, you know, a visitor when they come that week, and then 2 weeks after that, and then 2 weeks after that, you know, so that they would keep, you know, aware of us and, oh yeah, I did want to go back there again, or, you know, so we don't know if it will help, but we just proposed it, you know, yesterday actually, and we came up with messages, and it's an idea, right? I don't know.
It sounds like a great idea. That's internal marketing. You're marketing to the people that are already coming. Those sound like really terrific ideas to me. Joanne wrote.
Mark. Joanne says there are a few you would ask if there was a marketing committee right now. There are a few members of the communications who work.
Ruth, we can.
To the idea of marketing, branding, and PR, feeling that it is too corporate.
Oh, that's how people feel in general, Joanne, in your congregation?
I doubt, well, Joanne can respond, but I know Southern Delaware. I don't think people feel that way in general, but I'm sure that there are a group of vocal people who feel that any kind of marketing is blasphemous. Yeah, not in general.
Not in general, not in general, but there's a feeling that exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard that from a couple of people as well. And, you know, maybe there's a way of talking about it without using those words, perhaps.
Well, you know, in
Talk about
my
how,
in my video, I address the fact that many people don't like the M word, marketing. And I guess we could come up with another word, but I just have to tell you this, this boils my blood when I hear this stuff. This is one of the reasons why we have flatlined as a denomination, why we don't have any more Unitarian Universalists in the world than we had when the Unitarians and the Universalists merged in 1960. Because there are people in our congregations who feel that spreading the good news of Unitarian Universalism is somehow anti-Unitarian Universalism. And I frankly don't get it. I really don't get it.
you know, I drove past our congregation for years and never knew what it was.
Yeah.
Never knew what it was.
Yeah.
It,
And is
I
that?
don't think there's, and again, I'm going to say that I'm so happy that I have a life with this wonderful group of people, and that my life has different purposes now, you know, and I just feel like there are people that want, not only, you know, need us, but want to be part of this type of community that we have, and they just don't know about it.
Yep.
Just don't know about it.
Interestingly, in our congregation, we had a pride flag that was removed from our front lawn and burned, and then brought back in shreds. And so we put up a metal pride flag, and a lot of people have said exactly what you said, which was they drove by it, but when they saw the flag, that was a symbol to them that it was a safe place. And for me as a straight woman, it was a symbol to me of being welcoming. So, you know, that's so important. And Mark, one of the things that I find very disturbing as far as I'm concerned is I tend to be beaten down by the outliers. You know, the people on either side that are the devil's advocates rather than the angel's advocates. You know, and you all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, you want to stay in the middle, acknowledge their thoughts, and say some way. But that may be something that we can consider as we go on, not being sucked down by the outliers.
Well,
yeah, and you don't want to alienate them, so that's a balance that we all have to figure out how to. You know.
So let me respond to that. Alice Mann and Gil Rendell, who are two prominent people, church consultants, have said that in any congregation, about 15% of the members are excited about change. They'll get on board with new ideas. They'll support the movement of the congregation. And 15% of the members will be dead set against anything that the leaders try to do. Everybody else is in the middle. You'll never get rid of the outliers. They are always going to be there. But what bold leaders do is they move ahead. They try to enroll the outliers. They try to enroll the naysayers, but then they move ahead. So, Joanne, the people at Southern Delaware who are saying this marketing and branding stuff is too corporate, It's, we listen with an open heart and an open mind, and we understand their position, and then we move on. You can't let 10 or 15% of the congregation hold back the progress of that the rest of the congregation wants to make. That's what small congregations do. And you guys you can't have a small.
They're led by Dad.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So other parts of the first session. Oh, there's Joanne again.
Yes, I'm not discouraged, but it is a challenge. It is critical that we grow.
Good for you.
So I would say that we need to reach out to each other, Linda and Joanne, that kind of thing.
Yeah, share ideas and challenges.
And just know it's like, all right, we're not, just keep going, be bold.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm always of the mind that I want to pull people along, that I feel like if I was really good at this, I would be able to get those outliers buy-in somehow, and maybe that's just a pipe dream that I always think I'm gonna, do. And, but I guess, at some point, Mark, to your point, you have to do what needs to be done in the end, but not by alienating people, and that's the difficult part.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Who wants, nobody wants to offend other people or push people away, and you don't do that. You embrace them and you accept them and you love them, even though they're giving you a hard time. But the bottom line is the majority of the congregation wants a marketing plan. They want to grow. They want more members, and you go with the majority. It's one of our principles. The alternative is to let the minority control what the congregation does. And what's the sense in that?
Yeah.
Easy to say. Hard to do.
Really good point.
So I'm
So
wondering.
that's the importance of, generating passion.
I'm sorry, Ruth, say again?
I said that's why it's so important to have the group that is excited have a kernel of an idea, and I think it was even in there somewhere that does ignite excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And go from there and just keep. And for example, for me, I pay attention to the naysayers. So I need to keep in mind, in the forefront, this is a democratic process. We go with what's best for the congregation, and you have an opportunity to be part of it and come around to it, or otherwise we're going to fall by the wayside. Right. And there's a church just down the street from me that has a for sale sign on it. So, and it's a Methodist church, so I think it's a Methodist church. So that's the other, that's the other side, so.
Yeah.
Right.
So this module 2, which is the first module in the marketing course, really was an introduction, and the succeeding modules will get into a lot more specifics in terms of strategies for engaging in marketing, both internet marketing, online marketing, and guerrilla marketing and low-tech marketing techniques. The next video will focus on branding. One of the things I talked about in this first video was the need to align your marketing plan with your mission. And then the branding will be really, will continue that idea of identifying who you are as a congregation and why you exist. That's your mission, and then that becomes your niche, and that becomes your brand. So as you begin marketing plans, make sure that they're consistent with your mission. I know that at Southern Delaware, you guys came up with a great new mission statement that you have on your website. And so, Joanne, your work in marketing and outreach really needs to be consistent with that mission. I actually can't, and I know that Delaware County, the congregation that Ruth and I belong to, also has a new mission statement that we're very proud of. Linda, I can't recall if Stony Brook came up with a new mission statement or not. Do you know the mission statement of the congregation?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's around creating a diverse environment, accepting to all people, and I don't really remember the wording of it, but I don't think we did a new one. I think it's been on the board's plan to redo a vision and mission statement, and I think somehow it got stalled and they didn't redo it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, even though, we do have a mission and vision statement, and so there are people involved with, and the Earth Keepers with the environment and doing, we recently had our whole building converted to solar panels. So we are, trying to do things that are, that honor the earth and honor each other and honor, people who are not that very well off and so forth. But the other thing is, as far as the challenges and what we need to do what I feel and what a lot of people think we need to do is we need to start bringing in some younger families or younger people, because what's the situation right now is that we have a lot of fundraisers and we have some social things that are fundraisers or community building types of events, and the same people are doing all of these things, and some of them are 80 years old putting big giant tables away in beds. It's like, what's wrong with this picture? We need to do something where we reach out to younger people who don't know about us and would want to be a part of the group, because the congregation is aging and the same people have been doing things for years and years, and they look at me, and I'm in my 50s, as, well, you young people, and it's like, no, I can't shovel the walk anymore either. It's like so we and the facilities management team is the same group of guys, and that run over and change the light bulbs out and fix this and do that, and spend hours fixing the oil burner and stuff. We need to, and that's the demographic. There are a lot of aging people, and there are middle-aged people like myself, not a lot of young families or young people in their 20s. And if one comes, for example, someone who grew up at the fellowship, went to Florida with her mom passed away, she's now 24, she came back, she was all excited to come back to the fellowship, except there was nobody else like her there. And she thought, oh, I made a group of friends my age and we'll do things together and become part of the group. And there is no group because there's nobody in their 20s,
Yeah.
Really, one or two people, but you have to know who they are. And so as far as a camp, we have to do something where we can do some kind of campaign to try to make, bring more vibrancy of young people, single or young families, to the fellowship.
So,
and I'm sure they're out there and they just don't know.
Right. So so part of your marketing strategy then is going to be to tailor the young adult and young family population. So the literature that you produce,
right,
your website, the events that you sponsor, are all or most of them are going to be geared towards attracting the younger population. And that's more than
Well,
just, it's just
I think that's
it's more than just marketing, Linda, too. I mean, you need to look at your worship service and how is it contemporary? Does it have contemporary music? It's more than just marketing. It's what does it look
right,
like when people come into the congregation?
right.
So,
Right.
Joanne,
So, Mark, I'm just going to read from
yeah,
Joanne.
go ahead. Yeah.
Just as an FYI, we have aligned all of our external and internal communications with the new mission and the 7 principles in the last 7 months. At first, there was some resistance, but our web page and Facebook traffic has increased, and there is increasing credibility.
Wow.
And I would say the same thing for our congregation, in that Ignite, Engage, and Serve, Linda and Joanne, is now our mission. And we used to have a 3 or 4 paragraph mission that no one could remember, but a lot of things we do now is, does it ignite spiritual growth? Does it engage us in community and serve? And so things are built around it, like what you're doing, Joanne. And it's exciting.
So what do you think of the things that led to the to generating that interest? What was changed that made it more inviting?
I'm waiting for Joanne, but what was interesting is a small group of people, they had a sort of a SWAT, where they had a brainstorming session. They invited people, they came up with stuff, and then a group wrote up the mission statement with the idea that it had to be, easy to remember. And so that really, I think, made a big difference, and we're doing things around that.
We have a lot of people that like a lot of words, including, but you just said something: ignite, engage, serve. Is that the mission statement?
Mm-hmm. Ignite, engage, serve.
I think that is
no, Ruth,
so
not really. No,
cool.
that's not the full mission statement. It's ignite personal growth, engage in loving community,
Right. Well,
serve with integrity.
Yeah. Engage in community and
Serve with integrity.
Okay.
But the part that we can remember, yes, you're right. But we have T-shirts, Joanne, that say ignite, engage, and serve. And our worship service bulletin in the morning on Sunday is broken up into is included in that.
And the mission statement.
Had
I just want to jump in and say the mission statement is a marketing tool, and I know that can be heresy to say it. I'm absolutely convinced that mission is critical to the success of a congregation, but a good mission statement is also a marketing tool, because you can put it on T-shirts, and you can put it on your website, and you could put it over the door, your front door, when people come in, and it serves many, many purposes. And if you're going to do branding, you got to start with a mission that makes sense. Go ahead, Linda. I'm sorry.
Right. How many people were involved in that process of redoing the mission statement?
Not that many. Do you know, Mark? I mean, I know they had a session where they, had all the little blue and yellow stickies, and then a group put it together. I'm sorry, Mark.
There were no more than 20, like 15 to 20. And they were the leaders in the congregation.
And the people that actually wrote it. But the people that actually wrote it, I think, was even smaller than that.
That distilled it down into a concise sentiment, which I like that.
Now, I'm trying to find my place with Joanne. Ours
is like 3 sentences.
I looked at all the communications product. It was clear that there was little congruence in appearance and message. I did an audit of everything and started changing things with the committee. You go, girl.
That's good. See, I'm a believe, like, I feel like the people we have on the communications committee, some of them are Colleen Rudman, who you know because she was on the threshold committee.
Yes, I know
Remember
Colleen.
Rudman?
Absolutely.
So there's a group of us that I kind of feel like we could do this and come up with something really good, but then who would view it as, gee, I wasn't included in that. Well, you know, how come we all were included in that? And will you have their buy-in? And, you know, so it's a touchy thing. You know?
Joanne's adding, we also put our mission on everything. You guys are doing it right. That's why I'm so proud of you.
You're welcome, Joanne.
And that was from Mark.
Yeah, so, you know, marketing is just one part, it's just one layer of a really, really big cake. And as you'll see in the next video, we talk about branding and, you know, who you are and who you want to, how do you want to be represented to the community. That really does get into the issue of mission. And Linda, you may see that in order to move forward on a marketing and outreach plan, that the congregation really needs to go through a missioning process. Be clear on who you are, why you exist, and how you want to be seen in the community. A mission does all of that.
Right. Yeah. Why do we exist?
So I'm just wondering, I want to just give some space for any other thoughts or issues that may have arisen in watching the first video, the part 1 and part 2 of the introduction piece.
Is there a way, this is not totally with that, but is there a way, like, for example, we can get back and print some of the resources, we just have to click on them after we're done? Like, for example, if I want to go back and look at module 2, I can just go in and print that up, right, if I want to? You're
talking about the resources?
Okay.
Yeah, you can. Once you've completed...
Well, and anything that...
Well, Ruth, I don't believe that you can download, I don't believe you can print out the video or the PowerPoint that's on the video, but any of the resources.
No, that's right, but that's on YouTube.
Yeah, you can.
Aren't they on YouTube?
Well, no, they're not on YouTube. They're downloaded onto the website, and you can view that at any time.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you've completed the module, you can go back.
I really thought. Yep.
I know there's a delay in my talking and being heard, and I apologize. I'm in a hotel in Southern Virginia that has terrible internet connection, so I can tell you that future process circles will be much better when I'm in a place where I can have better internet. But that's what's accounting, I think, for the audio stuff. So I apologize for that.
That's okay. It's just once in a while it kind of cuts out and
Yeah.
back in, but
Yeah.
not too bad. Okay.
Okay. So Ruth, to answer your question, you can go.
I'm grateful.
You can go back and revisit that module anytime.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I really did think it was very informative and helpful. Like, all right, we'll build on it the rest.
Okay. Well, there's a lot more to come, and I hope.
I also did like the first video.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I want to continue to get your feedback on.
You liked the first video, Linda?
Yeah, Linda said that she liked the first video.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Good. I'm glad. Well, the next video will come out. I'm checking my calendar.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow is right. And then, so our next process circle is February 11th at 7 o'clock. And I will send meeting information a couple of days before that. The schedule is on the website, but the specific meeting information, I'm not sure if it is or not, so I'll send that to you.
Okay. So that's February 11th?
Yeah, the next process circle, right? 7 o'clock,
Okay.
okay? And hopefully we'll have a
It
few,
was nice meeting you.
hopefully we'll have a few more people attending as well. Joanne, anything to write before we adjourn?
I have to see, I lost her chat.
No, okay, I
There it
have,
is.
oh, you got it? Okay, good.
You got it now.
Oh, Joanne says thanks a lot. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. Again, I apologize for the technical glitches, but I'm glad we had a chance to get to meet and to start talking about this. And I'll look forward to talking with you at the next process circle.
Thank you very much, Mark, and
Okay.
Linda and Joanne.
Nice meeting you all.
Good night, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.